Hello, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another episode of 30 Albums for 30 Years, 1964 through 1994. I am your host, Jay Sweet. I hope you're doing well. Summer's winding down. I hope you enjoyed your summer. We still have some time left, so I don't want to jip you from that time. I just got back from a family vacation, feeling pretty relaxed. I hope you got to do some fun things as well. While on that vacation, I was checking out this record, Wilson Pickett's In the Midnight Hour, Atlantic Records, recorded between 1962 through 1965, and was released in June of 1965, I believe. I'm not certain about that date. But this is our 40th episode in the regular series. So, moving right along. Hope you're still enjoying it, and I know you'll like this record. So let's get right into it. Wilson Pickett's In the Midnight Hour, Atlantic Records. All right, so Wilson Pickett is a soul legend with a golden voice. The singer was born in 1941 in Prattsville, Alabama. He was the fourth of 11 children. He learned to sing in the Baptist church choir. Then he left Alabama in 1955 to move in with his father in Detroit. He left because his mother was a violent woman and was often beating Pickett, and he just couldn't take it anymore. So he goes to Detroit, began singing with a gospel group called the Violinaries. He then became inspired by the music of Little Richard and others, and then he moved from singing only gospel music to some pop music as well, and in 1959, he joined a perfect group for him called the Falcons. The group combined gospel and pop, gained some notoriety, and scored a minor hit with a song called I Found a Love, which Pickett co-wrote. Then Wilson Pickett submitted a version of a song he wrote called If You Need Me to Atlantic Records producer Jerry Wexler. Now, instead of signing Pickett, he took the song Wexler did and gave it to Atlantic recording artist Solomon Burke, who scored a hit with the song. Now, this, of course, angered Wilson Pickett, but he did not give in, he did not give up, and he released his first hit soon thereafter. It was a song called It's Too Late. This song later appeared on a record of the same name for Double L Records, that's his record company, Double L Records, in 1963. Then Wexler saw the possibility finally in Wilson Pickett and bought out his Double L recording contract. So he's now with Atlantic Records, and he releases a duet with a singer called Tammy Lynn called Come Home Baby. Great song, but it did not do particularly well. His next attempt was a mega hit, though. It was In the Midnight Hour, and it was recorded at Stax Records in Memphis, Tennessee. Stax Recording Studios. The song reached number 1 on the R&B Billboard charts and 21 on the U.S. pop charts. It was even nominated for a Grammy Award. The success of In the Midnight Hour catapulted Wilson Pickett's career. All right, so the record itself. In the Midnight Hour is a compilation record showcasing releases from 1962 through 1965. Some of the tracks include the celebrated Stax rhythm section of Steve Cropper on guitar, who co-wrote with Wilson Pickett quite a bit, Al Jackson on drums, Donald Duck Dunn on bass, and Booker T on keyboards. That would be the rhythm section that would produce Wilson Pickett's greatest hits. Then the album was released. It reached number 3 on the U.S. R&B charts, but only 107th on the Billboard pop charts, which was surprising. Moving up to 1970s, Pickett continued to record, and his follow-up records would sell well, and he scored major hits with singles like 6345789, Land of a Thousand Dances, Mustang Sally, Everybody Needs Somebody to Love, Funky Broadway, a remake of the Beatles' Hey Jude, and others. This success ranks Pickett as one of the greatest soul singers ever. In 1973, Pickett left Atlantic Records and began recording for RCA. So 1973, he leaves Atlantic Records and begins recording for RCA Records. So by 1975, Wilson Pickett's music was not selling well, and the singer was dropped from RCA. He did find another record label called Big Tree Records, smaller label, much smaller, but no hits followed. And then he began to see the effects of alcoholism and cocaine abuse. And he grew increasingly violent during this period to his family, musicians, and friends. And although he was struggling personally, his music was still being pretty well celebrated, particularly his older works. Bands such as the Grateful Dead, the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, Van Halen, Bruce Springsteen, and others began covering a lot of his material. But despite dwindling popularity, Pickett kind of hung in the game and found ways to continue to record and even made some film appearances, but again, no hits at this time. Then in 1991, things really started to go bad for Pickett. It started out good. He was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but that same year he was arrested for driving in a drunken rage over the front lawn of Englewood, New Jersey Mayor Donald Aronson. The next year, 1992, he struck an 86-year-old pedestrian with his car. This guy's name was Pepe Ruiz. Pickett was driving drunk, and Ruiz eventually died from his injuries, and Pickett was sentenced to a year in prison. He was also involved with several domestic violence issues. In 1996, after another domestic assault, he was arrested for cocaine possession. The singer died in 2006 at the age of 64. Okay, so we've learned a little bit about Wilson Pickett, his life, his struggles, obviously a flawed individual, but what's important here is the music. So let's try to separate that from the great songs that we're about to hear. And we're going to drop the needle on side one, track number 1. And this is the one that made him a star. It's called In the Midnight Hour, the title track. The song was initially released as a single. Pickett and Stax studio guitarist Steve Cropper wrote the song. Cropper recalls Atlantic Records president Jerry Wexler said he was going to bring down this great singer named Wilson Pickett to record at Stax studio. I didn't know what groups he'd been in or whatever, but I used to work in a record shop, so I found some gospel songs that Wilson Pickett had sung on. On a couple, at the end, he goes, "I'll see my Jesus in the midnight hour. Oh, in the midnight hour, I'll see my Jesus in the midnight hour." So Cropper got the idea to use this phrase, "in the midnight hour," as a basis for the song. Most likely, Cropper was listening to a Falcons record, particularly the song "I Found a Love," in which Pickett says the following, "And sometimes I call in the midnight hour." Musically, the song is soulful. It has an incredible underlying rhythmic groove. So hats off to the Stax session players, who I mentioned a little bit earlier. They really were a significant part of Pickett's overall sound, particularly around 1965 and beyond. In the Midnight Hour reached number 1 on the R&B charts and number 21 on the Hot 100 charts. Had the lyrics been less suggestive, it's likely it would have been an even bigger charting single, particularly on the Hot 100 charts. So, classic tune. In the Midnight Hour. I hope you enjoy. Track number 2 is Teardrops Will Fall, which is a duet between Wilson Pickett and female vocalist Tammy Lynn. The song is credited to Dickie Doo, who was a singer and songwriter. His real name was Jerry Granaham from the band Dickie Doo and the Don'ts, and also New Orleans gospel vocalist Marion Smith, who Wexler signed in 1965. This song could have been a bigger hit. It just really didn't take. Who knows why these things happen the way they do. But take special notice to the underlying groove and the horn interlude in the song Teardrops Will Fall. Take a Little Love. We can all use a little love. Here's a song credited to Pickett, and it served as the B-side to the single Come Home Baby. Take a Little Love has a bit of a country soul groove. It's another solid track showcasing Pickett's powerful vocals. Again, I believe this could have been a single and a bigger hit. Take a little of and listen to a little music. Check it out. Next up is For Better or Worse, another early single for Pickett that shows off his vocal range, his signature screams along with a gospel chorus. In fact, the song blends gospel music with blues and soul. It's very well written, produced, and performed. It's one of the best tracks on the record. And again, this one was written by Wilson Pickett. The song served as the B-side to the single I'm Gonna Cry. For Better or Worse, I think it's better. Check it out. Track number 5 is I Found a Love, which was first recorded by Pickett's gospel group The Falcons, and it was a gospel hit. The music is thick, and Pickett sings with tremendous passion on this one. It's a great praise song that helped to establish Pickett within The Falcons. The background vocal lines are a little overwhelming at times and somewhat out of tune at times, but overall, I Found a Love is a really good track. I would recommend it. All right, down to our final grooves here. The last track on side 1 is That's a Man's Way, which is another Cropper and Pickett collaboration. The song is sexy and soulful for sure. It's a song about passion that is, again, expertly delivered. The track is a perfect side 1 closer, and it leaves you wanting more music. Although it's not a hit, it is one of Pickett's best. And that's a man's way, and this is Pickett's way. So, here you go. Check it out. All right, still having fun? I mean, this is a good one. Good record. So let's do it. We'll flip it. Drop the needle on side number 2, track number 1. I'm Gonna Cry is the song. It was released as a single in 1964, and it underperformed, really. Maybe it did make some people cry because it only reached 124 on the U.S. Billboard charts, and the label was hoping for something better. The song has a pretty involved arrangement and some significant layering and background vocals. This heavy layering was probably an attempt to match Motown's sound, which was known for this kind of thick arrangement characteristics. So I think it clearly influenced the production, and this recording, of course, he lives in Detroit and Motown's situated in Detroit, so there's no way to avoid the Motown music and the Motown label. So I'm Gonna Cry. I mean, I'm not really. I'm kind of really just enjoying the song, so I hope you do as well. All right, side 2, track number 2. For some reason, I always enjoy when we get to side 2, track number 2. I enjoy saying that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just being goofy. It is getting a little late. It's getting close to the midnight hour, and it's a great segue here. It's the follow-up single, in fact, to the midnight hour. And it exemplifies how well Cropper and Pickett would work together as writers. There are a few well-handled key changes, some great orchestral characteristics or orchestration characteristics. But at its core, the song's interest is really centered around the groove from the rhythm section and Pickett's strong, preachy vocal deliverance. So don't fight it, just enjoy it, and I will do the same. Don't fight it. Right now, I'm going to send you out some love. I really do love my listeners. I love doing this program. So take this love I've got, which is track number 3 of side number 2. This is a call and response song that is reminiscent of the Isley Brothers hit Shout. Although the song seems like filler, Pickett delivers it pretty well. So take this love I've got and take this song and enjoy it. Okay, so as I'm recording this, in fact, I'm waiting for my teenage daughter, one of my two teenage daughters, to come home. And so it's a fitting title. It's called Come Home Baby. It is getting a little late, so I'll call her right after this recording. But I digress. So anyway, Come Home Baby features Pickett again in a duet with Tammy Lynn. It was written by the successful husband and wife songwriting team of Barry Mann and Cynthia Wells. I used to know a kid named Barry Mann. Not such a kid anymore. We played baseball together. So Barry, wherever you are, shout out to you. Anyway, the song, back to the song. It was released as a single in 1964, but it failed to chart. I have no idea why, because it has all of the elements. It's got great vocals. It's got a toe-tapping groove. It's got interesting horn lines, a solid hook. Come Home Baby. Great song. All right, so still waiting for my daughter to get home. And, it's funny. These songs are kind of right along the lines of where I'm at. It's a song called I'm Not Tired. But, in fact, I am actually kind of tired. But anyway, let me get back to this, man. I'm Not Tired is another Cropper and Pickett original. And once again, they deliver. The song seems to channel Sam Cooke's style and sound. Now, I talk about Sam Cooke in season number 1. Sam Cooke was murdered in 1964, and his murder really left a void for a soul singer. And the premium soul singers following the death of Sam Cooke was Wilson Pickett and Otis Redding, who I also do a show about. The two really served as the kings of soul, and they kind of were competing in a way. And these two competing soulsters seemed to really push each other towards greatness. And then, of course, Redding died in a plane crash in 1967. I'm Not Tired is the song. Again, I really kind of am. But this song will wake me up a little bit. Check it out. Okay, so the final track here is Let's Kiss and Make Up, and for the most part, Pickett's music is about relationships, having them, losing them, and in this case, regaining one. This one was written by Pickett's Falcons bandmate, Willie Schofield. There's some pretty good guitar work on the track. It's a good final track. It's called Let's Kiss and Make Up. All right, so we did it. Made it to the end of the record, and we are better for it. So let's lift that needle off that record and put it in its jacket and put it away. Keep it close, though. I have a feeling you're going to want to listen to this one again. So it's not quite the midnight hour here, but getting very close. But in terms of the record, in the midnight hour is an excellent collection of Wilson Pickett's earlier works. The title track and the album helped establish Wilson Pickett as one of the most significant voices of soul, and to me, he's one of the greatest vocalists to emerge in the mid-1960s. All right, so as I've been telling you guys, I've been waiting for my daughter to come home, and that's why I was recording this episode at this time. So she did make it home. So this is my daughter, Victoria, 17 years old. Say hello to the listeners, Victoria.
Hi.
Hey, yeah? Where were you tonight?
Half-price apps at Applebee's.
Half-price apps at Applebee's. So is that why we're late?
What?
Is that why we're a little late?
Yes.
Yeah? How was the service at Applebee's?
Terrible.
Yeah?
Slow.
Slow.
That's why I'm late.
Yeah? What do you think of your dad's podcast here? Do you ever listen to it?
Yes, I love it.
You love it?
Very interesting.
Yeah? What's your favorite type of music?
That's the one the Jamaican one.
Oh, you like the global pop Jamaican episode?
Yes.
Like learning about reggae music?
Yes.
All right. So say goodnight to the listeners.
Good night.
All right. And you can tell them, keep the music alive.
Keep the music alive.
All right. So there you have it. You heard it from Victoria. Let's keep this music alive. And thank you again for listening. For more information, 30albumsfor30years.com. And I also have a book, History of American Music, 1750 through 1950, an origin story, Kendall Hunt Publishers. Speak to you soon. Have a good day. Have a good night. Out. Peace.